relationship. My panelists to the left, I'm going to let them go down the row. They'll introduce themselves.
I don't think this is working, but my name is Drew Thorne-Thomsen. Now it's working. Great. From Invoca. We were previously RingRevenue. We rebranded the company a few months ago. Invoca stands for Inbound Voice Calls. We are a technology company focused on performance-based marketing. So for individuals and agencies and networks and advertisers that value the inbound call channel, many of the folks use our technology to manage, create, and scale call-based campaigns. So we like to say that we can track calls like clicks.
David Smith, most recently leading acquisition and launch in New Jersey and Nevada for Caesars Interactive Entertainment for the World Series of Poker brand, as well as CaesarsCasino.com, and basically over 15 years of running multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns and budgeting and planning, and very heavy in media buying.
I'm Eric Evans. I've worn a number of hats in the industry, working as a publisher and agency, and currently the founder of HyperTarget Marketing, a network. We primarily drive inbound calls, and we work closely with Invoca to do that.
Daryl Colwell, Senior Vice President with Matomy Media Group, formerly known as MediaWiz. If any of you know that, focus on performance media and helping our clients acquire new customers through a variety of channels all over the world. But you guys aren't here to hear about me. We're here to hear a little bit about our panelists and kind of their take on the business. So I think it's interesting. We've got David, an advertiser, Eric, an affiliate, and Drew kind of sitting to the left, but really sitting in the middle between these two folks as a service provider, as a technology. So we're going to kick things off. Guys, whoever wants to jump in, what would you say is the current state of the affiliate advertiser world? Where is the relationship between advertisers and affiliates? Where are the challenges?
I'll jump in. I think it's in a healthy but can always be better state. I think that when you're speaking with any inherent purchase, whether you're buying a home or buying media or anything, there's going to be tension, and the tension is this guy wants to get the most he can for his product. This guy wants to pay the least he can or she for their product, and I think it's in a good place. But now that data is king and data points are everywhere, that those who are still thinking they are going to kind of get away with selling media that isn't looked at or tracked are not going to be as in sync with the media buyers who are on top of everything. But there are many that are now very in sync with the data. So I think overall healthy, but it depends on who, with who.
In the audience, do we have advertisers, publishers? How many advertisers? Publishers? A couple publishers? Mostly advertisers? Any agencies or technology providers? Okay, great. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I think the state of the relationships is that it's grown up quite a bit in the last few years. A lot of the maybe tricky things that affiliates were doing are more out in the open, and it's like there's less and less that's behind closed doors these days, which is good. There's more transparency between folks, I feel, and I think that's overall good for everyone, and I'd like to see that trend continue.
Yeah, it feels like from a technology standpoint, a lot of the features that we get asked to build certainly enable more transparency for all of those involved in the relationship, agencies, advertiser, publisher, as well. It seems like over the last 10 years, it has become more important to see what's going on and get full transparency so that you can explain and optimize and grow the channel.
Now, you guys don't only deal with affiliate marketing at your respective companies, I'm sure, but how would you say the affiliate marketing aspect of your job differs than maybe some of the other relationships that you might have, whether it be search or what have you?
It feels to me that when we talk to an advertiser about their budgets and certainly performance being affiliate mostly in search, it feels like about 10% of the media spend is allocated towards affiliate on average. Feels pretty standard to us. But certainly there's both big and small brands that spend upwards of 50% of their budgets on there. So the thing that kind of strange to me is that some companies are spending 2% of their total budget on affiliate and others are spending 50%. how is that happening? So it seems interesting.
Yeah, I think in some ways the affiliate departments or groups, and you may have heard this as a recurring theme here, a little bit of the redheaded stepchild that gets, okay, whoever's not doing something, go do, affiliate. And if you are doing it, it's just unfortunately that, but now as more companies become educated in the fact that it's not just lumped as an afterthought with marketing, but the harder you work it, the more you work it, the more you're going to see better lifetime values of the consumers you bring in and more leads that are meaningful. You're not just talking about, okay, how many did we sign up top of funnel, but these often lead to more meaningful, better acquisitions, in my opinion.
And I think that's partly due to, like I said, affiliate marketing growing up. Too many people, when they think of affiliate marketing, they think of getting burned in some way. But that's just because there's always been so much vagueness around what people are actually doing that the more and more people are actually describing what they're doing and how they're working together. And it goes both ways. It's got to be a two-way communication where advertisers are going to share some more back-end metrics with affiliates, which used to kind of never happen. And then on the same token, affiliates, because they didn't know what was happening, to their leads or what was happening behind the scenes, they didn't really want to share what was going on up front. So kind of both sides, like nobody really knew what was going on sometimes. And, I think that's happening less and less, which is just good for everyone.
So you did a nice segue for me to the next kind of section here.
Okay,
Where we
try.
talk about challenges slash opportunities to improve, right? To kind of meld the relationship. So, in my opinion, there's really kind of three overarching themes where I think there can be improvement, and it's trust, it's communication, and it's commitment. Communication, I think, was one of the things you mentioned. So where very specifically, or as specific as anyone you guys want to get, where is the communication breakdown?
I think it's not going to break down here. No, it really it has to do with, again, not always, and I who is on more the media buying side, and I'm not going to point a finger to the person selling media. It's transparency, in a word. You referred to transparency earlier. It's really being upfront on what is the goal, and oftentimes someone who isn't thinking 2-3 steps down the road is often saying to their whoever they're buying advertising from, they're saying, we want to get signups, or we want to get, but really what you're saying is you don't just want to get signups. You want to get signups who are taking the action that matters to you most, whatever it is. It could, the action could be filling out a form, but that form leads to something to purchase or whatever it is. And I think that's what's sometimes missing, because if those things aren't transparent from the buying side anyway, it's going to be harder later to have a meaningful conversation about accountability, because it becomes, well, we got you what you wanted, but what you really wanted was 1 or 2 steps further, and it's a shared responsibility.
Are you saying with transparency on the data side or just on the relationship side?
Both. Going in on the relationship side, you can't just have a, I'm buying X amount, you're selling me X amount, Y amount. It's got to be something where you're sharing with them. This is the first goal, but the second goal is I don't want to just receive these new sign-upees, and I want to get them to take XYZ action, because I've had situations where we've got a lot of what people say would be like dead acquisitions, money spent for no good, use on the bottom end of the funnel. But then you've had other situations where it looks like that at first, but you have a proactive partner who went and remarketed or re-incentivized them to take the action further down, as well as you yourself marketing, doing CRM things to them as well.
I think someone needs to take the first step sometimes in these conversations, and that's what everyone's very reluctant to do. And I think it happens. I mean, it happens in every business negotiation, but especially in affiliate marketing, people kind of dance around. Nobody wants to name a price. Like, people talk about CPAs, but nobody wants to really say what it's going to be. Oh, well, how much is this lead worth to you? Oh, well, how much can you pay for it? How much can you generate it for? And it's just kind of putting yourself out there, and yeah, I mean, it comes down to how well you know the people you're working with. If it's a brand new relationship, people are cautious. But even sometimes with people I've worked with for a long time, it's the same kind of dance around conversation. It's like, just throw it out there. Let's get something in the works here, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I would say the most successful campaigns that we see from being a service provider in the middle of advertiser and publisher, it seems like the relationships that go the longest, that are the most successful. I see what you're saying exactly, who's going to come up with the first number, but at the end of the day, I feel like the ones that start slow, they're measured accurately and transparent, and understanding what those end actions are, as David was saying, figuring out the goals, lifetime value of the customer, whatever those end actions are, being clear up front, sharing some data, starting slow, with one or two pieces of creative, one or two pieces of content, one or two publishers, offers, campaigns, starting small. The affiliates tend to, once they figure it out, they can generally scale very quickly. And certainly from the advertiser, the merchant, the agency side, once they figure it out, they tend to scale fast in this ecosystem. The hard part is figuring out what works, and it seems like you have to work with very trusted third parties, publishers in this case, who will be obviously pretty open with you, and test and go slow. And then obviously I feel like the great part about this channel is it can scale effectively.
So the affiliates and the advertisers, in some of the cases I think you guys are referring to, they work directly with each other, but that's not always the case. Oftentimes there's a middleman or a broker, or a bad word like that, or an affiliate network. Do they help or do they hurt?
They should be helping. I mean, that's why they should be there, to add value and not just prevent people from talking to each other, and that sometimes can be the case, and that again just comes back to trust. And you could put like some non-circumvention agreements together, but it's really like, if someone introduces a relationship to you, and they're helping in some way, then there's no need to like go directly to the advertiser. Sometime if the network's doing something, they're adding value to the equation. They're building creative for you. They're building landing pages for you. They're putting multiple offers together. If like one advertiser, takes one type of thing and you have traffic that doesn't work for that, well, a network can come in and put somehow a bundle, as we call it in Invoca, when I'm using their technology, like put another buyer on the disqualifies, so you can monetize all the leads, and that way networks are constantly adding to it, as opposed to just just being like a silent middleman, and that happens too often. I think that's the biggest problem I see with networks right now.
I think there is a lot of benefit from working with networks, because if you think about it from a buying perspective, they're working with people, and in effect they can be your benchmark. If they're working with, let's say your specialty is games, and they're working with a lot of people who are driving traffic for various games, you're going to have their benchmarking from all the people they're working with, that they know this, these guys all of a sudden are coming out of the woodwork delivering better quality leads for other people in our chain. And I think so there's some of that learning. Of course there's the third party tracking and all that good stuff that appeals to those who have that lack of trust. But I do think there's a good place. I look at a network both for the benchmarking sense of things, third party tracking sense of things, and also as a resource. You don't always have the luxury of talking to 50 people a day, and you can only cultivate so many relationships. So I think it's a good blend.
Yeah, I think all those points are great. Technology, transparency, benchmarking, a couple other things depending on how many affiliates you work with. Certainly none of networks deal with a lot of the administration stuff, so paying in aggregate is a huge thing. My background was I worked at Commission Junction for a long time, and people say, why was that, why were you guys able to scale so much? And I feel like one of the things they did really well was payment processing. So if you work with everyone directly, you're going to be dealing with that. So, and even still, there's, to your point earlier of benchmarking, there's lots of agencies and networks that are certainly good at everything, and then there's others that are very good at specific things. If you're in the auto insurance business, there's networks and agencies that are very, very good in those spaces, and certainly the list goes on from games to pick the vertical of choice. And I feel like those types of networks and agencies add a lot of value if you have a niche product, or you're a publisher and you have traffic in a specific vertical.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to it, but it seems like sometimes every network just claims to do everything. Like, oh, we work in every vertical and every channel and every this and every that. And you're like, well, what does your company do? If you do everything, like, give me something specific. And so I don't know the answer to that. I mean, it seems to work well for a lot of people, but it seems to be a problem for people to figure out what's going on.
Well, I think the answer to that in some ways is really walk the floor here and get a good sense of what they say they're good at, and ask them who their repeat business is. Try and get a sense of, I'm not going to name names of who I think is good for this, that, or the other. You basically go out there and ask them to say what's your repeat, who are some of your repeat customers, and they'll give you a good sense, and that might give you people to talk to see if your business is similar to who you're working with.
Attending the panels is a good way to learn too. So thank you guys for coming. Eric, so I think there's affiliates out there who like working with networks in particular for payment processing. Pay me weekly, pay me daily, pay me when I wake up in the morning. And there's other affiliates that really crave that direct relationship with the advertiser. I think I know what you're going to say, but what's your opinion on that from your perspective?
I guess it's similar to what I said before about just like adding value. But yeah, I mean, quick payments is a big part of it. For me, when I'm putting on my affiliate hat, if I know that I trust I'm going to be paid and they haven't been late and there haven't been any issues, that can be a good thing. But there, I've also dealt with some situations where I know advertisers were late on payments, and the networks will wait till the very last second or just not even tell you, and suddenly a payment doesn't come, and you have to reach out to them, and someone's not calling you back, and it's like, oh, well, we didn't get paid, so we're late on turning it around to you, and that's what really bums affiliates out. So don't do that.
I would say commitment is another challenge or opportunity improvement, and here's what I mean. I think one of the big concerns the advertisers have, when working with a particular affiliate, let's just call it a dating campaign because there's so many out there. They test with XYZ.com. I'm making that up. They figure out kind of the tricks of the trade around dating, and then they leave XYZ to go to ABC.com because maybe they'll pay them 10 or 20% more. That speaks to the commitment. On the flip side, an advertiser tests with an affiliate, maybe 100 leads or so, and it doesn't work, and they run from the hills, right? They'll never deal with that affiliate again. So I think there's commitment issues, not just on the personal side, but
Dating and
so talk a little bit about this from your different perspectives.
For sure. I mean, you've got the impression oftentimes on the media buying side, working with affiliates, is oftentimes, oh, they'll drop me if someone's paying a penny more. And that's only because it has been true very often. But on the other hand, I think there is a lot to be said for what you said. There has to be a commitment both ways, and I think that's where the relationship comes in. It's great to have a list of offers to select from on a CJ or whatever you go and wherever you go, but really get into it, because when you're just looking at a link or an offer and everything's being done digitally, or most things are being done digitally, it's a lot different than when you get into a relationship and a conversation. You start having conversations with the people behind these offers, and I think that communication starts to build the trust, the idea of, I could be making a nickel more per lead here, or buying it less, but we have a longer vision, we have a relationship building, that'll lead to the next growth level. So I think you got to work the relationships.
And somehow affiliate marketing, it's so much different than like traditional media buying, where there's like some kind of out clause and you have some time to adjust. But the norm for affiliate marketing sometimes is, and it comes back to open communication, is things will just turn on and turn off in a heartbeat. And if you've been working on something for a long time, and you're spending time and money building creative, building landing pages, building these ad campaigns, and no matter how much time you spent on it, and then it's just gone with no warning, it's really frustrating. And so I think I don't know the answer to that, but yeah, maybe going back to some more traditional media buying where people have some time to make adjustments, making that more of the norm, I think will help everybody. And that's going to take commitment from both sides, to actually make that happen in this industry.
I don't think I have a ton to add other than the fact that I think people have to buy and commit to the channel. I mean, the relationship is certainly got to be there, and you got to build it and be transparent and share everything. But committing to the performance channel on the advertiser side is a big thing. I think affiliates feel when their clients or their vendors or their agency, really likes and supports this performance-based channel. I've been in this business for a long time, and it is a great channel, but it is intricate. These affiliates are taking a ton of risk. They're spending their own money, their own time, and they're waiting to get paid. So I think the model works really well if everyone commits to it. I think that's the right way to say it. It's just the advertiser, I believe, needs to be educated on this channel in aggregate, and has to, because the affiliate's taking so much risk, I think they have to really understand that affiliate is taking so much risk. I feel like a lot of times they'll say, well, they should be able to do this for me. Well, of course they should be able to do it, but don't forget, they're not as well capitalized as you are. They don't have the resources necessarily that you have, and they're out there, scrappy as they can be, trying to generate the most quality traffic they can for the best possible price to meet your goals. So I think that understanding the channel will help people maybe commit to it more, as I think where there can be some value added.
Yeah. David, I think you brought up a good point where you said there's real people behind all this stuff. This isn't, at some point, technology moves the traffic, but at some point there are real people. There's a real person whose job is to drive new acquisitions for Caesars, or run campaigns for hyper marketing, or HyperTarget marketing. In a couple instances, I would actually, have my affiliate team meet some of our advertisers, and vice versa, so they can see, the perspective from the flip side of that coin.
For sure. When you do meet and you don't not only talk about how are things going, good, bad, somewhere in between, you're forming your front of mind for these people. So both ways you're front of mind, meaning I've had deals where somebody wanted to try something out on their site. I mean, it could be a small site, or it could be as big as Yahoo, that they had never done a little link on the my.yahoo page or something that was a CPC-based blended campaign. And because you were talking to them, not because you had a lot of dollars to spend, but because you were talking to them, they said, let's try this with you for 3 days or 7 days or something like that. So you never know where those face-to-face interactions will yield, which is a big deal for a small growing company, which that was at the time.
Is this anyone's first affiliate marketing conference? The best thing you could have done is come here and actually meet these people you're working with online. And that's been such a huge plus for me, just to have a face-to-face with someone. So it's, emails are one thing, talking on the phone is one thing, but when you actually get to see who this person is that you're working with, and it's not just this random website out there, then that strengthens everything. It helps a lot. So good job on coming to your first conference.
And drink tickets will help enhance the conversation. So again, if there's anyone that's interested, we've got some extras up here.
Yeah, the last piece I think I would add is if you're new to the industry, everyone is pretty well connected. So that's a good thing, and mostly a good thing, I'd say. You will if you get in touch with the right group, right, when you first start. So certainly we're all amazing. You need to totally meet all of us.
I can tell this is definitely the right group.
Okay, good. But no, it's a good. There's lots of great people here, and people generally want to share and network and connect you as well. So if you, I think you could come to any one of us and say, hey, we're looking for X, Y, and Z, and whether we can help you or we can't help you, we certainly could plug you in absolutely to the right folks in this ecosystem.
So what do you guys think, the future, and I guess let's call it the future, the next 12 months? What do you think 2014 holds for affiliate marketing?
From my side, what we're seeing, we're obviously not involved in every campaign that's sort of going on in this ecosystem, but as it relates to us, what we're seeing a ton of is certainly, these devices are helping generate a lot more inbound phone calls. So, there's the stats that we're seeing from verified third-party data companies is inbound phone call, the channel by itself is generating about 30 billion sales calls a year, and it's going to be projected in 2016 at 60 billion. So lots of inbound phone calls. People are making them like crazy. it's hard for marketers to understand where phone calls are coming from, how to optimize them, how to understand which ones are good, which ones are bad. So for us, what we see is mobile just completely taking over. We've seen, on our platform a couple of years ago, 50% of the calls were from landlines and 50% from mobile lines. It's in the 90% dial now on mobile.
Has TCPA helped or hurt your business?
Does anyone know what that is, that legislation that passed? Basically, it's more for the outbound dialing, and there's more rules and regs around that. I'm not going to go into details, but we focus traditionally on the inbound side. So if you ask anyone if they want to own a call center, for example, no one really raises their hand. But you kind of have to, if you want to operate a business that has an annuity-based product that's complicated, that's considered, that's configurable. And a lot of times people need to talk. Insurance products, financial service products, et cetera, are ones that kind of come quickly to mind. Education, professional services, et cetera. People need help, assistance. They're not going to buy this stuff through filling out a form. And in some cases, when they're ready to buy, and they can do their research on a mobile phone, et cetera. So TCPA, I think, is affecting certainly the outbound side. But on the inbound, because of mobile and the fact that consumers are interacting in lots of different ways than they have over the last couple of years. And with technologies like ours, with ecosystems like this, we've been able to scale our business. But mobile is, I think, the thing that we've seen just be incredibly powerful and generating a lot of qualified leads, and certainly lots of unqualified leads that go other places.
And I think my aha moment for mobile was actually my brother, who is not quite as tech savvy as me, but
Your brother Brian Evans?
My brother Brian Evans,
Okay.
You got it.
Brian.
His computer broke a couple years ago, and I was just talking to him, random conversation, and I asked him when he's getting a new one. He's like, "Oh, I'm not going to get a computer. I just have an iPhone now." That's the only way he goes online is on his iPhone. So that was part of okay, so everything you look up online is mobile, and maybe click to call, and maybe this, maybe that, and I just kind of ran with that, and I know he's not the only person out there that is only going online with his phone now. So.
Right. I think that no question the trend in the next 12 months is mobile. Despite rumors, desktop is not dead, laptop is not dead. We still sometimes need to do certain things, especially in our case where you have to install some software or other things like that to play certain games and other things. But I think in the next 12 months it has a lot to do with mobile, but more importantly, at least from the buying side, equal to that is really get your data in line, get your tools set up. There's so many different tools that can help you. Your products, other products that will help you track what's going on, whether it's being provided to you by the partner you're working with, or if you go out there and you make sure you're using, even if it's Google Analytics to the fullest, whatever it is, there are ways to do things that you didn't have 10, 15 years ago. Optimizely and Unbounced, and these things that let you optimize your landing page that I view as not just analytics tracking, but site optimization tracking, often cost nothing or next to nothing in terms of the yield that they're going to give you in the long run. So I think really don't just hope it'll work, make it work based on getting the tools that are out there.
Yeah, I think the other trend that I seem to hear a lot being on the technology side is definitely integrated. Everyone's got their own dashboard and everyone's got data in disparate systems. I think a trend that we'll see this year and beyond is, to the point, grabbing all this data, wherever it comes from, your agencies, your publishers, Google Analytics, any other things that you use, and trying to get them integrated into one system so that you can see one view or as few views as you have into one place. Pretty much 10 out of 10 clients that we talk to, all their data is everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's all valuable data. It's awesome. And it helps you optimize and measure and all the things that we need to do, but they got to be integrated. So I think that's a trend that we'll see in this business, but also just in digital marketing in general.
There was another session a friend of mine put on called Math Not Feelings, and I think that sums it up pretty well.
Very good. All right, that concludes this portion of the presentation, but we wanted to open up to you guys. No questions out of bounds.
We have drink tickets.
They don't want drink tickets though. Nobody.
But now that they know that they can get them,
You can sell them.
you can ask a question.
No. Yeah,
Dude has the microphone.
just step to the microphone to ask. So they're videoing the session.
Hi, this is, can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is probably more just of a curiosity, but with respect to the inbound and outbound call things, what is with Google Voice? Why do they want people running phones through there? I mean, what do you think the future state of that is in the next 10 years? Do you think you're going to see people using Google telephone numbers and therefore they control the data again? Is that what that's about?
I think we could all actually answer this question a little bit differently. But I'm going to let Eric, if maybe I've got, I think, a decent answer, but I think you have probably an interesting answer too from the publisher side.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, I mean, Google just wants to take over everything. I mean, they want to offer everything for free and just have everyone doing everything on Google and offer every service and just, Google Glass be like watching you everywhere, like everything is going through Google. So
What did Google buy this morning?
Nest the other day, so they know when you're, someone speculated, I think it was on Business Insider, where, maybe they want to know when you're in your living room versus your bedroom to, affect the ads they're showing you. I think that's a little bit far-fetched on privacy side, but anyway, nonetheless, they're trying to figure out what people are doing so they could sell accordingly.
Do you use Google Voice?
I use Google Voice, yeah. I mean, for like the click-to-call advertising they have, it's been great. I mean, they kind of integrated into that. I mean, I'm not going to be the one that speculates what Google's doing. I mean, who knows what their next move is? But they just want everything. So.
Yeah, I've been to a few mobile shows where Google's present from the product side, and I would say they've done a better job than anyone. Monetizing mobile, and certainly other players have done it, but with Maps, they've done an awesome job. Certainly with click-to-call, they've done a great job. And I can't have the stats on the top of my head, but by adding a phone number to a sponsored ad, the click-through rates go up between 10 and 15% for Google. So that's why they do it. Well, certainly there's multiple ways. One way is it's another feature set that they can sell. Two is their click-through rates are increasing by 10 to 15%. So whether someone actually clicks on the number to make an inbound phone call or whether they click to go to the landing page, you can differentiate which one you want. The click-through rates go up. So they're making a lot more money as a result of being able to add an inbound call component to the campaign. I think they absolutely want the data as much as they can get. The data that they're giving now to advertisers and agencies and publishers is not great today. But that combined with your thermostat data and everything else that they're going to have is meaningful. And when I've spoke with folks, at Google or consultants that work with Google, I mean, certainly they want to know what's going on with for example, they're very interested in our call data for, we don't do anything with them on that, but.
I can see a day where they would potentially start giving away minutes or giving away time, to be able to trade for your phone number so that you could gather all that data.
Yeah, I read something on the WallStreetJournal.com the other day where not on the minutes, but more on the data plans. A lot of these companies that if you want to surf, Facebook, right, they're going to start, Facebook's going to subsidize a lot of your data plan on your bill. You'll see how much, terabytes or whatever you use now, I don't know. But Facebook or Google or these big companies are going to say, yeah, you can surf for free, and it's not going to go against your bill to cover the cost of the data.
Yeah, and flashing back to the question before about the next 12 months, I think there's no question we're all seeing geolocation, and you're just going to see people get smarter and smarter with that. I've had people approach in the last 6 months and say, we could show ads to people when they're at a racetrack, a casino, buying a lottery ticket. There's all kinds of people trying to find. So for those who are thinking about maybe you don't yet have your niche of what you're going to, I encourage you also to think like local or hyper local, because there's a lot going on in that space where you can find your niche and maybe run with it.
And consumers are just getting more comfortable with all this. I don't know if anyone saw the movie Minority Report like 10 or 12 years ago. And so Tom Cruise walks into a store and he sees an ad like for the store right there, and people were like, "That's so weird. It's so creepy. They're tracking me. Like, how do they know what ad to show me?" And now people love it. Like Yelp deals, check in here, get 10% off this. It's people want it now as opposed to being totally freaked out about it 10 years ago.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Who's next? All right. Guys, thanks so much for coming. I hope it was interesting. Hope you learned something, and hope you had a good time. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.